Here you go, everybody. If there's a case for preventing guns and gun violence, this is it. Have a look at this. And please don't tell me the government's going to come and attack you and you need to keep your guns. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, American friends. They haven't done it in Australia yet, so I don't think they're going to do it at any stage. There's more danger in having guns out there for maniacs and killers to suddenly go into schools and shoot people up. Okay, you can sell a shotgun at home for self-defense. If you think you can keep it away from the 10-year-old killing the 6-year-old, that's fine. There's a lot more ways of protecting yourself than guns. Mace. There's even a gun you can use with shoots it out for like 40 feet. All right, tasers, torch tasers. There's a bunch of stuff you can use. Hit them with a baseball bat and run out the back door. I don't care, but you really have pellet guns. Do you really have to have things that can kill innocent people? Have a look at this. It's very distressing, this gun problem in America, and you should be getting, people need to get licenses, they need to have a reason to get a gun, not just for self-defense. It's just a whole bunch of stuff. That's why Australia has not had one mass shooting since 1996, since they banned AR-15s, AK-47s, etc. All right? Farmers can still get guns to kill, certain animals that eat their crops, and that's about it. That's all they need one for. Okay, here we go. Watch this.
Tonight, a special edition of Nightly News, an unprecedented up-close look at gun violence on one night in America. Overnight, NBC News teams embedded in cities across the country as gunfire erupted.
We already had 3 shootings already this evening.
We're with police as they hunt for the gunman who shot 4 people.
We gotta do that.
We're in the hospital trauma center as doctors and nurses try to save the lives of gunshot victims.
You hear the beating. That means there's no heartbeat.
And we're there as families and communities grapple with the worst news possible. This evening, an extraordinary, in-depth look at how gun violence is destroying communities and plaguing our country.
This is one night in one city in the richest country in the world. How can this break up?
This is a special edition of NBC Nightly News with Kate Snow. One Night in America.
Good evening. We have new information tonight about the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, that a total of 400 officers were on the scene that day. A new report detailing failure after failure. But we're going to begin by focusing on the overwhelming amount of gun violence happening every single day in America. More than 40,000 people are killed each year by guns. And while we tend to focus on mass shootings, far more Americans are killed in smaller incidents. So tonight, we're going to chronicle gun violence across one night in America, specifically last night in America. We had teams embedded in communities across the country. Overnight, Gabe Gutierrez was inside R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center in Baltimore, the first facility in the world dedicated to treating trauma. Gotti Schwartz was with the Houston Police Department, riding along to different shooting scenes overnight. I spent the night in Chicago with Street Pastor Donovan Price. He spends his nights rushing to incidents at hospitals to help the families of those lost. And Jesse Kirsch was with the Philadelphia Police Department. Their shift started with a mass shooting. 4 p.m., Philadelphia.
Larger group of individuals standing at this corner in this area when a black Chevrolet Tahoe with 2 shooters inside opened fire on the group, striking 4 out of that group.
Officers Stephen Vivarina and Michael Wolf were just at the scene.
None are life-threatening injuries, with 27 shell casings and the scenes being held out there.
The officers told us right now they're going to start by looking for a car that they believe to have been involved in an earlier shooting where 4 people they say were shot.
So it's 7:45 in the evening right now in Chicago. We're following Pastor Donovan Price. He has made it his mission to go out to sites that have had a shooting. When families need help, he'll be there for them. Tonight, he's already heard about 2. How many shooting scenes do you think you've been to?
Since I started
Yes.
this, about 1,000 homicides.
About 1,000.
Those are homicides. That's where somebody died.
Pastor Donovan met Diane Archer moments after her eldest son was shot and killed outside her home on the day before Mother's Day. 26-year-old Brandon had just bought her a cake to celebrate. She lost her younger son, Sheridan, just 5 months earlier.
What do you miss the most?
His laughter. I just miss him. I miss them both so much. We used to joke a lot and laugh, and it just hurts.
At the Community of Faith Church in Houston, they're mourning the pastor of a nearby church, Ronald Mouton.
You buried a pastor last Saturday.
A pastor last Saturday who was shot and killed 5 minutes from where he pastors in the community. He serves the people and ended up dead from gun violence, random road rage.
Your brother was a man of God.
Yes.
You're a man of God.
Yes.
You spend every weekend preaching peace.
Right.
Did you ever think something like this would happen?
I just didn't think it would happen. Because it can happen to anybody.
We live in such a violent, gun-infested culture to where at any moment, any given time, for no reason justifiable at all, someone dies because of gun violence.
Night begins to fall outside the R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center at the University of Maryland. Here, they treat more than 7,000 trauma patients a year of all kinds, but now a growing number of gunshot victims.
What's your biggest fear?
We all do our best to keep everyone alive. There's always that chance that it's not going to end in a positive outcome with stuff, and that's always kind of in the back of your mind.
We have just shy of 400.
Dr. Tom Scalea, a trauma surgeon, runs the world-renowned medical center.
On some nights, does this feel like a war zone?
And some nights it is a war zone.
10:26 p.m., back in Philadelphia.
Gun violence that you say is going on around Hillside. It sounds like it all comes back to drugs.
I think a lot of it does. A lot of it centers around it. You know.
Moments later, at the scene.
Hey guys. That wasn't gunshots, right? It was just fireworks.
It feels like fireworks.
Throughout all of this, of course, police are waiting for the next shooting, which they expect at some point.
In Houston, our team links up with Lieutenant Larry Krausen.
We already had 3 shootings earlier this evening, and we just got a report of one on the west side right now, and we're going to head on over there and see what's going on.
Alright, so we just pulled up to this strip mall, and you've got crime scene tape up in this parking lot. It's kind of hard to make out from there, but there's a body, what looks like a white sheet over it, over next to a car. So the lieutenant's going to go talk to the officers.
Officers showed us video of the moment.
There was a male that was at the ATM getting some money out. He was approached by a male that was armed, tried to rob him. The male that was at the ATM had a pistol, and he was able to engage the suspect and fire a shot that killed him here at the scene.
Back in Baltimore.
So it's just before 11 o'clock, and we've just gotten word that the gunshot victim is expected to be transferred here any minute. This is the first gunshot victim of the night. All we know is that he was shot earlier in the day and had to be transferred here from the community hospital because he required a higher level of care.
And in Philadelphia.
Hey, little man, you know where you live? Want to show me? Is it this way?
Officers say they got a call of a young child out on the street with no one watching him. Appears the boy's been reunited with his family, but just to think about a young child standing out on these streets in the middle of the night, based on everything we've seen in the area, it's really tough to think about.
Pastor Donovan in Chicago says until we all focus on local gun violence, nothing will change.
You're concerned that people just aren't paying attention, right?
It's a pick and choose. You know, when it happens over there, man. When it happens over here, that's them. That's what they do. That's how they live.
Do you mean when it happens in a big way, mass shooting at a school or somewhere more affluent, it gets more attention?
Yeah, definitely.
Midnight in Houston.
So I talked to the sergeant here, and this is a shooting.
Wow, we got a lot of family here.
It's about 12 o'clock. We're now at the third shooting scene that we've been to tonight. This one happened earlier in the night. We understand that there was a homicide. We're basically surrounded by grieving family members. You've got probably about 20 or 30 people that are here gathered looking for information on what happened. We know that somebody's dead here on scene, and so we're waiting for the lieutenant to give us a little bit more information.
Moments later, a medical examiner arrives for the victim. 12:30 in the morning, and you just heard about 2 shootings in a row?
2 shootings in a row, both critical, both, I believe, going to University of Chicago, which is near here. And so I went to go see there. There may be no family members there, but in most cases at this time of night, when there's something like that, there's a bunch of family members at the emergency room door, and I just like to go in case that's necessary.
Just moving toward University of Chicago Hospital now, where we think there might be victims or a victim from a couple of different shootings. Kind of unclear what's going on, but the pastor wants to get there quickly because if there are family members there, his goal is to be a calming presence.
It's just after midnight, and we've just gotten word that a gunshot victim is about to be brought here. So as you can see, the medical teams are gathering around this trauma bed. Every second is critical. You see these doctors and nurses hovering over this trauma bed. They are trying desperately to save this person's life. The beeping right now means there is no heartbeat. How urgent is what's happening right now?
It is life-saving treatment that during the patient came in and said cardiac arrest, what they were doing is life-saving.
How long have you worked as a chaplain? About 3 years. About 3 years. What's up is it's a scene what's going on. It can be pretty hard.
What just happened? Unfortunately, the patient died. They were not able to resuscitate him.
Does it ever happen to hear him call out the time?
Never. I've been doing this for 20 years.
Two dozen medical professionals here. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. How do you come to terms with that?
Sometimes it's someone.
And he rose in peace, and he rose to a point to cross the
We got to the University of Chicago Hospital, and there's a crowd of people. They look to be family members of someone who's inside the emergency room being treated for a gunshot. Things are getting a little bit tense right now, a little bit heated. People are arguing with each other over my shoulder, and the pastor's in there, I'm sure, trying to calm people down. Later, one of the family members learns their 31-year-old relative is gone. Their pain unbearable.
It's now 3:30 in the morning. We just got back to the hotel. We thought the night was over, but I got a text from somebody in an adjoining Houston County. It's county jurisdiction, and they had a quad homicide. 4 people shot and killed. That brings the total number of people that we know of to 6 killed in the span of 5 or 6 hours in the Houston area.
When you go home tonight, do those shooting victims go home with you in a way?
Absolutely. I mean, every single time we try to separate work from home life, it's a very tough thing.
We saw you gather for prayer. What was your prayer?
Heavenly Father, I pray for peace, first of all. That's it. We're all here because of love. And so let love travel from one to another. Let there be unity. Let everybody here stick together.
It does take a toll on Pastor Donovan.
This one took a lot out of me because it was a lot of opening up your spirit. Opening up my spirit, opening up, just kind of feeling the situation. I've been blessed to be loved. It's important that I love now. If they get love and I never get love again, that's cool, because I know what comes after this. Plenty of love there.
On your drive home tonight, do you think you'll think about the patient who passed away?
Of course. You always think about them. You think about all of them at some point.
You see it every day. This is just one night in America.
That's correct. This is one night in one city in the richest country in the world. How can this make any sense?
One night in America, last night in America. We'll be right back. More news
And
about gun violence.
more news about gun violence. So here we go. Oh my goodness. It's just... Okay. If that doesn't hit your nerve, what does? Seriously. Please delete yourself from my Facebooks and whatever else if you really think that guns are a good thing. Tell that to the parents of Uvalde, Sandy Hook. All those poor parents are still grieving now because of some lunatic can walk into a gun shop, show that they're over 18 and never had a problem with the law just by showing their driver's license, and walk out with an AR-15. Seriously, guys, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. A car is a tool to go drive from A to B, right? But that car can also be a killing machine. So therefore, we get a license. We have to do tests on how to control that car, how to drive it. We have to practice. And then we finally get a license. That's it. And you drive it, you get better. But it's a tool to go from A to B. But it could be a killing machine if it's not used the right way. Gun. What's a gun for? Tell me what's a gun for. It kills or maims or injures. A bullet kills, maims or injures. Now you might like your guns. I'm telling you now, if your child got killed by one or you got shot by one, and suddenly you won't like guns anymore. I'm telling you that now. So I'm telling you now, the only way to solve this until they sort this one out with getting these guns off the street. And don't tell me, the criminals get them anyway, all that. Yeah, fine. Make it more difficult to get the criminals. If you take them off the streets, make it more difficult for the criminal to pay a lot of money to get a gun, right? So in Australia, they've stopped problems with people trying to get guns because they find out they're trying to get them. Instead of walking into a shop and just suddenly getting it straight away and then going in the next day and killing 19 kids and 2 adults with an AR-15 at 18 years of age, that lunatic. And the police are even too scared to go in. And they got bulletproof vests. Also, the police should have the helmets. I know a SWAT guy that plays pickleball, and he told me they've never had a problem being shot. They've been shot, but they've never lost anyone in his particular team because they had the helmets as well. So the normal police need to wear those and run in those situations. So, you know, it's just disturbing. You know, my thoughts on moving to America, you know, I've been coming here 24 years with the martial art tournaments. I learned martial art for self-defense and personal development and a lot of fun and a lot of other reasons. But self-defense is a big thing. I'm the world self-defense champion many times over. That's fine. But I can't protect myself against a bullet. In close, I can protect myself against a gun by parrying and hitting them pretty hard. But I parry the gun down so it wouldn't shoot anyone else for a start. There's techniques for that. But from a distance, I got no chance. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get some bulletproof vests for me and my family. That's it. And bulletproof backpacks for my nieces and nephews, my step-nieces and nephews to go to school in America, my wife's family. And that's what they're getting for birthdays and Christmases from now on. It's sad, but that's what's going to happen. And if they come into a classroom, at least you can duck down and you got the bulletproof backpack. Or you run away from a gun, duck your head, and you got the bulletproof backpack. There's another way of doing it. But until they solve this problem of these lunatics getting guns, they've got to do a proper course. You've got to do it. You've got to have a waiting period. They've got to be thoroughly checked out mentally and everything. And it should be definitely 21, not 18. And they're 21 for drinking, so it should be 21 for guns. any reason why anyone needs a gun anyway. But anyway, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And anyone tells me the government, you get the guns because the government's going to attack you, just get out of my life. Seriously, just don't even talk to me if you think the government. I would rather take the risk of Joe Biden and his guys coming to get me and my family than an 18-year-old walking in to a gun shop and then killing 19 children and 2 teachers the next day. It's as simple as that. It's ridiculous that the government coming against us. Oh, Hitler did or whatever. That's just ridiculous argument. Ridiculous. But I'm also not saying you can't have just a one-shot rifle. Remember when your Second Amendment was done, it was when they had these guns that you had to reload. You know, at least if someone has to reload a gun, you get a chance of defending yourself against it or stopping them killing other people. But if this gun, bam, 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 bam. And also, guns for self-defense don't work either, unless you're walking around like this the whole time. It's by the time you go down and get your gun, you're already attacked, so it's too late. Don't even give me that argument either. So that's it. AR-15s, AK-40, whatever they are, just got to be totally anything like that banned, and at least the rounds be minimised and bullets, whatever. And get a license, proper course. You should do a safety course. Get a proper license like you do for a car. That I understand they're not going to completely ban guns anyway, and it's not going to happen in America, unfortunately. And I remember on the plane coming here, you know what I was thinking? I'm moving to the land of the gun. That's what I was thinking. I've got 40 odd years of martial arts to protect myself, and I have used it against 5